Hi, guys. So, the news out of Washington this week has not been great for federal employees. Layoffs have begun with thousands of workers, and there are a couple of things going on. Some federal workers are being furloughed during the government shutdown, and others are being laid off. Reduction in force is what they're calling it. So there's a couple of different classifications for employees to be out of work during this time. So it's important to know which class you fall into if you're a federal employee who is suddenly out of work. So definitely keep in mind the furloughed employees. They're going to have some protections. They should be getting back pay according to a 2019 act. But the RIFs, the reduction in force, they may actually be laid off and may not return. So definitely keep in mind those two classifications. And it seems like the RIFs, they're mostly their agencies might be more aligned with the Democratic Party. So it seems like the White House has been laying off workers for agencies that he does not support. So a lot of political things, little political things happening, even though it's if you're a federal employee, it's your job, and it feels very personal, like an attack. It's very much a political situation that we are in the middle of. So just scanning through the news, the RAF notices went out to agencies like the Treasury and Health and Human Services, Commerce, Education, Energy, EPA, Homeland Security, Housing and Urban Development, and the Interior. And on Friday it said at least 4,000 workers were laid off. So federal employees are really being hit hard this week with a lot of news that can really just throw our day-to-day living into turmoil. And the IRS has really been at the forefront of some of these headlines. Initially, the IRS wanted to reassure their employees, if you've been furloughed, you are going to get back pay. And this is backed up by the Government Employee Fair Treatment Act of 2019. So there is an act of Congress that states if you are furloughed, you are going to get back pay. Even though the White House has been trying to say that is not true. So definitely, if you are a furloughed employee, keep reading the news. Keep staying in touch with your employment agency. And of course, there is a distinction between furloughed employees and the RAF. So if you've been laid off, that is a different classification than if you've been furloughed. So definitely, if you are a federal employee, keep in touch with your agency. Find out which group of classification you actually have. That's going to tell you a lot whether your position will be reinstated after the shutdown and whether you will be getting some back pay. And here's another website about 10 things you need to know as a furloughed federal employee. Again, it refers to the Government Employee Fair Treatment Act of 2019, which guarantees back pay for federal employees. So definitely read up on that act and stay in touch with your agency. There are some rules if you have been furloughed, like you cannot volunteer to work. You cannot use your annual leave. But your health insurance coverage will continue, so that is some good news. Payments into your federal retirement plan accounts will cease when you enter the non-pay status, so definitely keep that in mind. And do be cautious about taking a second job. So just make sure you're still adhering to your standards of ethical conduct and rules. Just make sure you're keeping all those things in mind. So we got some tips from Google, from AI. immediate actions to take. Create a bare bones budget. Focus on your essential costs, your mortgage, your rent, your groceries, transportation, utilities. What do I need to get through today and tomorrow and maybe the rest of the week. Pause all non-essential spending. Dining out, getting food delivered. That furniture that you were thinking about buying, you got to put that on hold while we work through all of this. Do communicate with your creditors and lenders. You still need to pay your mortgage. You still need to pay your student loans. So get in touch with your bank or credit union. Find out what options they have. And tap into your emergency fund if you need it, if your situation is dire. That's what your emergency fund is for. This is going to be an emergency. Google says the longest shutdown was 35 days. So do keep that in mind. This shutdown may not last a week or the next week. It might be a longer fight in Congress while they hash out the shutdown and get the country back up into working. So do keep in mind the shutdown may be longer than we are anticipating. File for unemployment benefits. Definitely look into that. Look into the Federal Employee Education and Assistance Fund. Take a look at your retirement savings. If your situation is dire, you may need to tap into your retirement savings. If it's the difference between paying your bills or not paying your bills, definitely look into withdrawing some funds from your retirement. Community support, call 211 or go to the website 211.org and find out what options are available from your local food banks, housing assistance, and utility support. Consider some temporary gig work. Of course, make sure you're adhering by your agency's ethics and rules. And if they allow it, look into some side gigs, ride sharing, freelancing. Think about what skills you have. Even just delivering food. Just how do you keep money flowing in while you're not working for the federal government. And tips for preparing for the future. So after it's all over, rebuild your emergency fund if you had to tap into it. Look into diversifying your income. Multiple streams of income definitely would make us feel a little more secure when one employment ceases. And formalize your budget. Take a look at your budget after it's all over and you can have money flowing in. A budget definitely helps you find out where all of your funds are going and what is your essential funds, and it just makes it easier just having a firm budget to look at when the money is not coming in, and how you adjust quickly to a crisis. All right, this website is Edward Jones, Actions to Consider During a Government Shutdown. So keep in mind Social Security benefits will continue to be paid. Medicare, Medicaid, CHIP, and the VA, you will continue to receive that care. So do keep in mind that those are some things that will continue. Again, the student loan payments, you still need to pay your student loan payments. So get in touch with your bank if you are paying on student loans. All right, actions to consider if you're furloughed and not receiving paychecks. File unemployment benefits. Definitely look into that as soon as possible. Again, check on your emergency fund. Definitely an emergency, so tap into that if you need to. Take a look at your budget and explore financial assistance options. And if you've got a financial advisor, now is the time to give that person a phone call. Find out what options are available. This is definitely a situation where a financial advisor can certainly help you out. And And this last website that I found, this one is from Waco, Texas. This is the First University Credit Union, and they actually have some pretty good tips. So that's why I'm sharing this particular banking website. It talks about managing finances during a government shutdown. First, they're saying stay informed and connected. So definitely stay up on the news. Listen to what the White House and Congress are saying about the shutdown and when it's going to end, and details about your job. Again, stay in touch with your agency, of course, because they're going to have the best information about your particular situation. And don't go through this alone. Lean on your family, friends, coworkers, community groups. Definitely stay in touch with the people that care about you and are there to support you. Take care of yourself and your family. Shutdowns are stressful. Make space for your physical and mental health. Remember to eat well, to exercise. If the news is just too much, if it's just overwhelming you, just unplug for a while and stop watching the news. You want to be informed, but the news goes 24/7. So if you need to take a break, just step away. Maybe even ask your husband or wife to read the news for you and just keep you in the loop with any major developments. But you certainly don't need to focus on the news. Definitely take care of your well-being. Very important during this really stressful time. So smart moves that you can make. Know your payback rights. Be informed as to, again, your personal situation. Have you been laid off? Are you just furloughed? Does the Government Employee Fair Treatment Act of 2019, does that apply to you? You may even be a contractor. So different work situations entirely. So definitely be informed as to what your particular situation is. Check out your unemployment eligibility once again. Talk to your creditors, your banks. A lot of banks may have hardship programs, fee waivers, temporary forbearance, deferrals. So definitely find out what your particular banking situation can do for you. Again, definitely be proactive. Call your bank and creditor rather than just stopping payments. Let them know what's up. It might make your situation a whole lot easier. So you definitely want to avoid your bank having to contact you and, maybe, give your account over to some kind of, credit agencies that's going to be a lot more aggressive. It's a lot easier to deal with your bank rather than somebody that's used to, making unpleasant phone calls. So definitely take the lead, make that phone call, let them know what's up. And again, you're going to prioritize your essential expenses during this time. Think about what you need to do to keep a roof over your head and the lights on, housing, utilities, essentials, feeding your family. Definitely focus on those essentials. Again, community resources. These are really going to help during this time. Connect with 211. Find out about food banks, housing support, health services. And this is an important one. Use extreme caution with payday loans or quick cash options. It'll you'll get the money into your account, but the high interest fees, that's going to be really hard to bounce back from when this is all over. So do keep that in mind. I know when you're in stress, you just want to find out how do I make it stop? How do I keep buying food and keep the lights on? You may feel like you need to take that step, but just know eventually this is going to end, and you'll have to deal with those high interest fees and paying back those loans. So definitely, while you're getting through this stressful time, keep your eye on the future as well. And consider short-term income options. Again, think about the side gigs, ride shares. Do keep in mind that you maybe still be a federal employee. You'll have to adhere by the rules of your work situation. But if it allows, definitely think about some side gigs to keep that money coming in. And again, just remember, you don't have to go through this alone. Reach out to your financial counselors, reach out to 211, reach out to a Federal Employee Education and Assistance Fund. Reach out to your banks and let them know what's going on. Whatever support that you need to reach out to, definitely make that phone call, make those contacts. Do keep in touch with the people in your lives. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope you found these tips helpful. If you have more tips, definitely throw them into the comment section. And if you are a federal employee and you're in the midst of all of this hardship, just know the rest of the country is thinking about you and praying about you. And we will get through this, and be safe and be well. And thank you for watching.